The ground was black with ash. Trees stood like ghosts, burned and broken. The wind carried the smell of smoke and death. A human soldier named Leo stepped carefully through the ruins, scanning the area with his helmet lights. He was part of a small rescue team sent to this forgotten planet. There had been a battle weeks ago, one the galaxy wanted to forget. The enemy was gone now, but many believed survivors were left behind, hiding in the rubble. "Anything?" came a voice through Leo's comms. Leo replied, "Nothing yet. Just ruins and silence." He walked past the burned walls of what once looked like a school. Cracked toys and broken furniture lay scattered on the ground. Then something changed. A sound, not a shout. Not a word. Just a soft cry, weak and almost animal-like. Leo stopped and turned. The sound came again. It was coming from behind a pile of collapsed stone. Carefully, Leo raised his weapon, just in case, and moved toward the noise. He moved a few blocks away and then saw her. A figure, small, thin, covered in mud, dust, and ash dot. She was crouched behind a broken wall, her hands over her face, her arms shaking. Her hair, what was left of it, was dirty and tangled. Her body looked like it had not been cleaned in weeks. Skin dry and bruised. She wasn't wearing proper clothing, just torn fabric wrapped around her like a blanket. Leo lowered his weapon. "It's okay," he said softly. "I'm not here to hurt you." The girl didn't respond. She looked alien, definitely not human, but her body was built like a young woman. Maybe she was in her early 20s in human years. Her ears were pointed slightly backward, and her eyes glowed faintly in the dark. There were scars on her neck and shoulders. She backed away when Leo took a step closer. "I have water," he said, slowly removing his pack. "And food. Are you hurt?" She still said nothing, but her eyes locked on the water pouch. Her lips were cracked. Her breathing was fast, shallow. She was starving. Leo crouched and placed the water pouch on the ground, then took 5 steps. Back. She didn't move. A full minute passed. Then, like a frightened animal, she crawled forward on her knees. She snatched the pouch and drank greedily too fast. Some water spilled down her chest and soaked the ash. Her body shook. She coughed, but didn't stop. When the pouch was empty, she looked at Leo for the first time. Then, with a raspy voice, she spoke. "Will you clean me?" Leo blinked. "What?" Her voice was barely more than a whisper. If you wash me, make me clean, I'll bear you strong children. I'll belong to you." Leo froze. This wasn't something a normal person would say. Not this quickly. Not to a stranger. Something in her mind was still trapped in fear, or habit, like she was offering herself just to stay alive. "You don't have to say that," Leo said, lowering his head. "I'm not going to hurt you. You don't need to give me anything." She looked confused. "You're not like the others?" Leo shook his head. "I'm human. From Earth. We came to find survivors." The girl started crying softly. No screams, just silent tears cutting paths through the ash on her cheeks. "My name is Leo," he said gently. "Can I know your name?" She hesitated, then whispered, "Nira." Leo stepped closer, slowly. He pulled out a clean cloth from his emergency kit and a small water vial. "Can I clean your face?" he asked. She flinched, but didn't move away. Very slowly. Leo knelt and wiped the ash from her forehead. Her skin underneath was pale and bruised, but still warm. She closed her eyes, and a small breath escaped her lips. No one had touched her. Gently in a long time. "You're safe now," Leo said. But he wasn't sure if that was true. Nira was just one survivor. There could be more, and if her enemies were still near, they wouldn't stop at one ruined village. Still, in that moment, under the ruined sky, Surrounded by ash and silence, one broken alien girl leaned into the first kindness she had felt in her life. And Leo knew this wasn't just a rescue mission anymore. It was something more. Asterisk. Leo sat beside the campfire, his armor dusty and chest aching. He had wrapped Nira in an emergency blanket, one that still smelled like clean cloth and safety. She sat close, silent, staring at the flames with wide, tired eyes. Her hands clutched the edges of the blanket like a lifeline. Even now, after being fed and given water, she looked as if the ground beneath her might vanish. Your body needs rest, Leo said quietly. I don't trust the dark, Nira replied without looking at him. That's when they came. Leo paused, choosing his next words carefully. They're not coming now. You're with us. You're safe. She slowly turned toward him. Her voice was faint. You keep saying that, but safe is not real for me. Leo didn't argue. Instead, he opened his supply bag and pulled out a small towel and another water pack. He motioned gently. May I clean? Your hands? She looked down at her fingers. They were covered in ash and blood. Small cuts and burns decorated her skin like terrible memories. Nira nodded once. Leo poured the water slowly, using the towel to gently scrub away the grime. She flinched at first, unused to softness. Her people hadn't offered care. They had trained her for endurance, not healing. This might sting, he said, applying a light healing gel to her palms. It's fine, she whispered. Pain is normal. This is not. Leo looked at her. What do you mean? No one ever treated me like I mattered. Not until now. He didn't know what to say. So he kept working quietly, carefully, until her hands were clean, wrapped in soft bandages. As the night grew colder, Leo set up a small shelter using field gear. Nira sat inside, watching him closely, her large eyes filled with both confusion and something else. Hope. I'm not your mate, she said suddenly. You didn't claim me, but you touched me like I was your own. Leo looked up from his pack, surprised. You don't need to be mine. I helped because I wanted to. That's what we do. She tilted her head. Why? He shrugged. Because it's right. She blinked, as if that answer made no sense. My kind are trained to survive, to kill. Kindness is weakness. Leo shook his head. No, kindness is strength, real strength. For the first time, Nira smiled, just a little. A small, hesitant curve of her lips that vanished quickly but left warmth behind. The next morning, the rest of the human team arrived. Leo had sent a signal during the night, calling for pickup. 2 soldiers stepped out of the dropship, both carrying weapons. One of them, Sergeant Reyna, narrowed her eyes at Nira. That her? She asked Leo. She's a survivor, Leo replied. Firmly. Her name is Nira. She's from the Kari species, Reyna muttered. They've been trained to fight humans. Are you sure she's not a risk? Leo stood between them. She's not a threat. She's hurt, alone, and she asked for help. Reyna raised an eyebrow. Asked for help? Or offered herself like a deal? She offered hope, Leo said. Maybe because that's all she's ever known. But she's learning something new. Reyna didn't reply, but she didn't object either. Later, inside the ship, Nira sat near a window, watching the stars as they moved through space. She wore fresh clothes, now simple and plain, but clean. Leo walked over with a food tray. Nira looked at the meal, then at him. I don't know how to be normal. You don't have to be, he said. Just be you. She took the tray slowly. You gave me water. You cleaned me. You didn't touch me like I was an object. Leo sat down beside her. You're not. You're a person. And you have a future now. She looked down at her hands bandaged, healing, steady. I want to believe you, she whispered. I want to believe I can be more than what they made. Me, you already are, he said softly. Nira leaned her head gently on his shoulder. No words, no promises. Just quiet trust. And that was the first time she truly felt clean, not just on her skin, but in her heart. The ship floated in silent orbit above the ruined world. Inside, everything was calm, too calm for Nira. She sat on the medical bed, arms wrapped around her knees, staring at nothing. Her body was healing, yes, but her thoughts remained trapped. The quiet scared her. It reminded her of the moments before the bombs. Before her home was turned to ashes. Leo entered the room, carrying a small box. He set it on the table and said softly, I brought something. Nira looked up. He opened the box, revealing a mirror, just a small one, made of polished alloy. Carefully, he held it out to her. Take a look. She hesitated, then slowly reached out. When she saw her reflection, she gasped. Her skin, though still marked, looked alive again. Her hair had been washed and gently tied back. Her eyes, those sharp, glowing eyes, looked more focused now, less afraid. I don't recognize her, she whispered. That's you, Leo said. The real you, not the version they left in the dirt. Nira lowered the mirror, holding it like it might break. My kind were never allowed mirrors. Only warriors look. In mirrors, only leaders. I was just property. Leo sat beside her, his voice low. You were never just anything. You survived. Her lips trembled. She looked away. They used us, gave us numbers, not names. I was called Subject 321 until I escaped. I gave myself the name Nira. It means light in my tongue. He nodded. It suits you. She stared at him. Why do you care? Because someone should have, he said, even if no one else did. That night, she had another nightmare. Leo was sleeping on the floor nearby where she jolted awake, gasping. Her body trembled. Her fingers clawed at her own skin, as if trying to remove invisible chains. Nira! Leo rushed to her side. You're okay? It's just a dream. I saw them again, she said. In the dream, they pulled me back. Into the cage, I was dirty again. I was nothing again. He gently took her hands and whispered, Look at me. That's over. They can't touch you here, but I still feel them, she said. Inside my mind. I still hear their voices. Leo looked down, then reached into his pocket. He pulled out a thin strip of metal soldier's ID tag and placed it around her wrist. When I was scared during my first mission, my commander gave this to me. Said it reminded him of who he was. Now I want you to have it. Nira stared at it. It was simple, worn, and heavy with meaning. What does it say? He smiled faintly. Just my name, but now it means more. She gripped it tightly. Then I'll wear it. Remember, I'm not a thing anymore. Days passed. Nira began speaking more, asking questions. What's Earth like? Do humans eat 3 times a day? Why do you protect the weak instead of using them? Leo answered every question with patience. One morning, she sat by the window watching the stars, then said, If I had grown up on Earth, do you think I would have smiled more? Leo looked at her. I think you would have been dangerous. Dangerous? She asked, surprised. He nodded. Because nothing is stronger than someone who's been through hell and still chooses to smile. She smiled, then a real one, bright and soft. But not everyone trusted her. In the ship's main hallway, Nira walked past 2 other human soldiers. She's trouble, one whispered. Should have left her behind. She's Kari. They can't be trusted. Nira kept walking. She didn't say a word, but inside, the words burned. Later, she sat alone, quiet again. Leo found her in the corner of the ship, holding the mirror he gave her. "I heard what they said," she murmured. "Maybe they're right. Maybe I don't belong here." Leo sat beside her, firm but kind. "Then we make a place for you." She looked at him. "Why do you keep fighting for me?" He replied simply, "Because you're not the only one healing. I lost people too. You reminded me why we fight at all." She placed the mirror down and looked at him not as a savior, but as something deeper. "I don't want to be afraid anymore." "Then don't be," Leo said. "Be strong. Be Nira." She nodded, her eyes steady. "Then teach me how to fight. Not like they taught me. Teach me to fight for something better." Asterisk. The sky above the planet shimmered with warning. A red alert echoed through the ship's halls. Sirens flashed. The crew scrambled into motion. Leo grabbed his gear and ran to the control room. On the screen, an unknown vessel. Fast, sharp, moving directly toward them. Sergeant Reyna shouted, "It's not one of ours." The ship wasn't large, but it didn't need to be. It was a Kari. Reclaimer drone, a Hunter-class ship built to track down escaped subjects like Nira. Leo's heart dropped. They're here for her. In the lower deck, Nira was already awake. She could feel the vibrations, the energy in the air. She stood barefoot in the corridor, sensing something old and cruel. She whispered to herself, "They came back. They always come back." Leo rushed to her. "You have to stay inside." "It's not safe." "No," she interrupted. "I know this ship. I was born in one like it. I know its eyes, its heart. You've seen that class before?" "I lived in its belly," she said. "It hunts. It doesn't speak. It doesn't ask. It burns." Leo grabbed her shoulders. "Then help us stop it. Help me." Her eyes narrowed. The frightened girl was still there, but now something stronger sat beside the fear. "I will." In the command room, Nira knelt before the console, her fingers moving over controls like second nature. "This ship has old Kari code," she explained. "I can talk to it." "Talk to it?" Reyna asked. "Not in words. In signals. I can jam its eyes. Make it blind." Leo nodded. "Do it." She plugged in a small device one she had hidden in her old rags, long forgotten. It lit up blue. Then the enemy ship paused in orbit, like a beast suddenly confused. "They can't see us," Nira said, "but only for a few minutes." Outside, the crew prepared a defense, but Nira didn't wait. She stepped toward the airlock. "Where are you?" "Going?" Leo shouted, to give it a message. The Kari don't believe in peace, but maybe they'll believe in fear. Leo followed her to the loading bay. "You're unarmed." Nira turned and smiled softly. "I was born in a cage, Leo. That ship was my prison. I know where its heart is." She pressed a button on the wall and loaded a plasma torch. Leo stopped her. "You're not alone anymore. You don't have to do this." She looked him in the eyes. "I do. For the first time, I choose to." The Kari ship landed, its black metal legs dug into the ground like spears. From its underside, mechanical scouts crawled out soulless, insect-like machines with red sensors and long claws. Nira walked straight toward them. The soldiers aimed their weapons, but Leo raised his hand. "Let her try." The machines moved in a circle around her. They scanned her body. They knew her code. She was one of theirs, but something confused them. Her clothes, her cleanliness, her new signature. She wasn't a number anymore. "I am not yours," she shouted. "I belong to no master." The machines hesitated, then attacked. Nira dodged. The first one, sliding beneath its claws. She rolled and stabbed the torch deep into its neck. Sparks flew. It fell. Two more charged. Leo and his team opened fire, covering her, Explosions shook the ground. In the chaos, Nira reached the main pod of the ship. She placed her hand against the metal. "This is where I was made," she whispered. "Now it ends." She pressed the torch into the pod's vent and overloaded the coolant system. Blue fire erupted. The reclaimer drone shook, then exploded from within. Pieces rained from the sky. The threat was gone. Back inside the ship, Leo helped Nira into the medical bay. Her arm was burned, her body bruised, but her eyes glowed with a quiet fire. Reyna stared at her in awe. "That was suicide, but you survived." Nira looked at her. "Because I had something to live for." Leo sat beside her, holding her hand gently. "You stopped them." She nodded. "For now. But they'll send more." Leo replied, "Then we'll be ready. Together." She closed her eyes and whispered, "I've never felt more free." The med bay lights were soft and warm. For the first time in weeks, Nira wasn't cold. She lay on a clean bed, wrapped in soft fabric, her burned arm carefully bandaged. The steady hum of the human ship surrounded her like a heartbeat calm. Protective, alive, Leo sat nearby, watching her sleep. He hadn't moved in hours. When Nira's eyes finally opened, she didn't panic. No gasping. No screaming. Just peace. "You stayed," she whispered. "I promised," Leo replied. She slowly sat up, her muscles sore but stronger than before. She looked at her hands. They didn't shake anymore. "I thought I was going to die out there," she said softly. "You lived," Leo answered. "You fought." Her eyes turned toward the window. The enemy ship was now a smoldering wreck on the surface. Flames no longer danced their only smoke. "I never thought I'd be the one walking away," she said. Leo smiled faintly. "You didn't just walk away, Nira. You burned your cage." Later that day, Nira stepped into the mirror room again, but this time she didn't flinch. She looked at herself fully, every scar, every mark. Her skin was still healing, but the girl in the mirror was no longer a victim. Her hair had grown, just enough to tie. She combed it back and wore a clean uniform the humans had given her. It was gray, plain, but it felt like armor. Leo walked in and paused. When he saw her, "You look different." "I feel different," she replied. "I feel real." She turned to face him. "I don't know how to thank you." "You already did," he said, "when you chose to live." The next day, the crew prepared to leave the ruined planet. A memorial was built outside, small stones arranged in a circle, honoring the lost. Nira placed one herself. It had no name, just a small word carved in Kari script. "Free. I was born in ruins," she told Leo, "but today I bury the past." He nodded. "You're not broken anymore." She turned to him, serious but soft. "What if I still have broken pieces inside?" "We all do," he said. "But you taught me something. You don't have to be whole to be strong." Back aboard the human cruiser, Nira was given a new ID. It read, Nira V, Civilian Advisor. Earth Alliance. She stared at it for a long time. "A name, a role, and a place," she whispered. "I never thought I'd have all three." "Now you do," Leo said, "and you earned it." Weeks passed. Nira trained with Earth's cultural team, learning languages, customs, and diplomacy. She was quick to adapt, sharper than most humans expected. One day, during a seminar, a younger recruit asked her, "How did you go from prisoner to this?" Nira smiled. "I was cleaned, not just with water, but with care. Someone saw me, not as a tool, but as a person. And I remembered how to be one." One evening, as stars filled the sky, Nira walked into the ship's garden deck. It was a peaceful space, filled with plants from Earth. Leo was already there, leaning against a rail. I heard you aced your exam, he said. She walked beside him. Top marks. I'm officially smarter than you. He laughed. Not hard. They both looked out at the stars. Nira broke the silence. There was a time when I thought no one would ever touch me without fear or disgust. Leo looked at her. And now? Now, she said, placing her hand gently over his. I know what it feels like to be seen, to be wanted, not used. Leo didn't move. He just looked at her with quiet respect. Thank you, she whispered. For washing the ash off my soul. He turned his hand over, letting their fingers link. You did that, he said. I just helped you see it. They stood in silence. No promises. No demands, not just two survivors reborn in a galaxy that never expected them to rise. Asterisk. The city on the colony world of Eleanor 5 shimmered under twin suns. Clean roads, green domes. Human and alien species working side by side. Among them walked Nira, dressed in a smooth, dark blue uniform stitched with the Earth Alliance crest. She walked with quiet pride, no longer hiding her face. Every step felt like proof she had survived, healed, and now belonged. Children ran past her, laughing. A small alien boy stopped and waved. Nira smiled and waved back. She had never imagined this future. Not even in her dreams. Inside the Central Command Center. She stood beside Leo, reviewing diplomatic files. You're becoming the star of the team, he joked. Nira smirked. I'm still learning how to use a coffee machine. Leo handed her a mug. That's the final test of true humanity. She took a sip and wrinkled her nose. Too bare, he grinned. You'll get used to it. Their eyes met for a moment, warm, knowing. Nira broke the silence. You know, I still hear their voices sometimes. The Kari handlers. In my sleep, Leo's smile faded. And what do you do when they speak? I wake up, she said. Then I look at the stars. And I remind myself, I'm not in the dirt anymore. He nodded. You've come far. She looked down at her hands, strong, clean, steady. I'm still going. That evening, a ceremony was held at the Unity Hall. Leaders from multiple species gathered. Earth's flag stood tall beside others. Nira stood at the podium, unsure if her voice would hold. She glanced at Leo in the crowd. He gave her a small. Now, she began. I was born on a world where no one knew my name. I was covered in ash, used, forgotten. I thought I was nothing. She paused. The room was silent. But a human gave me a gift. Not just food or water. Not even safety. He gave me something else, choice. She looked over the faces, some alien, some human, all listening. I chose to live. I chose to heal. And now I choose to build. The room erupted in quiet applause. Not loud, not dramatic, but full of respect. She stepped down, and Leo met her halfway. You are brilliant, he said. I was honest, she replied. Same thing, he said with a smile. Days later, in the outer farmlands of the colony, Nira stood beside a garden. She held a small plant in her hands, a flower native to her old world, long believed extinct. Leo walked up, curious. Where did you get that? I grew it, she said. From the seed I kept hidden in my old clothes. Back when I was still in chains. She placed it gently in the soil. It's strong. Like me. Like us. Leo helped her cover the roots. So this is your new future? She nodded. Not just mine. Ours. For everyone who chooses something better. Sometime later, inside their home, laughter echoed through the halls. A child part human, part Kari ran through the doorway, giggling, arms outstretched. Nira followed behind him, playful and smiling. Leo appeared, catching the boy mid-run. I told you. He chuckled. No flying indoors. The child pointed at Nira. Mama said I can. Leo raised an eyebrow. Mama's soft. Papa's the law. Nira grinned. Mama used to fight robots, remember? The child gasped. Really? She knelt beside him. Yes, and I'll teach you one day, but first wash your hands. The child ran off laughing again. Leo looked at her. You ever think this would happen? He asked. She looked around at the plants, the home, the quiet peace. No, she said. But now, I can't imagine anything else. As night fell, the stars above the colony shone brightly. Nira stepped outside, looking up. Somewhere out there, Kari ships still drifted. Wars still burned. Pain still lived. But here, she had something the galaxy couldn't take. A name. A choice. A family dot, and above all a future dot, she whispered into the wind. I was dirty and broken. Now I stand clean and whole. Behind her, Leo placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Ready for tomorrow? He asked Dot. She turned and smiled. More than ever.